All right. Hey, everybody. This is James, aka Jimmy Pockets. This is a special live stream. I tell you guys all the time that I am on Rumble with Killer Carl every Saturday night at 7:30, and as a special guest tonight, I've got Killer Carl with me, and I just feel so special that he graced us with his presence tonight. And we may have Tyler show up later. Tyler is the other gentleman that we do the live stream with on Saturdays. Now, he's gay, so we don't hold that against him. But he's a funny guy, and he's a good guy. He's hilarious. But Carl, thank you for coming, sir.
Absolutely, my pleasure, man. Thanks for inviting me. First time on YouTube in a long time.
Yeah, we got a little bit different rules on YouTube,
It's
but
good.
we had good conversation last night. Plus, we clown around so much anymore on Saturday nights. It's a good time. It's like it's we start out serious and it never ends serious. You ever notice that, Carl?
Well, you know what, James? Politics 24/7 will drive you crazy. And you need to break it up a little bit and make things fun because if you don't, you'll stress yourself out so much that you'll go bald like me.
Oh, look at me! But I raised
You
four
see what
girls, so
happens to us?
yeah, absolutely. But that live stream on Saturday nights is the favorite thing to do every week is to hang out with you two on Saturdays. I look forward to it. I always text you, what are we talking about? What's the
Yep.
topic going to be? Because I
Yep.
want to study up. I don't want to be like the idiot in the room. So, like my Sunday night live streams, I make a few notes of things that has happened that, the chat room may want to talk about.
Yep. Yep.
Because that's my thing. It's me in the chat room on Sunday nights. Hey Jeff, how you doing, brother? Hey Fish. But yeah, it's that's pretty much. I like to interact with the chat room, and we talk about everything on Sunday nights: politics, cars. Sometimes we'll talk about health issues. Uh, I talk about my personal stuff all the time, probably too much personal stuff
Uh,
for a live stream. But
you got to be careful with that.
hey, Steph, what's up, Rusty?
Rusty,
Yeah, party
nuts.
time. We got Killer Carl in the house.
How you doing, Rusty?
So we were just talking before we went live about the president of Colombia trying to puff his chest up against President Trump about not receiving the illegals back into his country. But before we went live, I'd watched Newsmax, and it looks like the president of Colombia is backing down now, and said, "Yeah, let them come on in." So that's the
Isn't
newest thing.
isn't it funny how that works? You know,
What's up, Rusty?
it's funny how yeah, it's funny how that works. With these, I mean, it's a third world country. I'm sorry if anybody's from Colombia, but it is. Let's be honest. They threatened to raise tariffs against the United States, like President Trump. And in all reality,
Yeah.
it's like, what do we send there? Like, everything that would be there anyway would be so expensive, it would be unaffordable in Colombia. I mean, so the fact that they would even try to pull that, and again, Trump slapped them right back with, okay, well, anybody trying to come here from Colombia, nope, you're done. Can't come here. We're shutting all travel down. And that's, I think, how he got them to cave. But you're sending criminals over here. It's like Trump says, you're sending your worst over here. You're unloading your prisons and your mental asylums.
Exactly.
and you're shipping them
That's
to the
the thing.
United States.
That's what exactly what happened. And the mainstream media would call him a liar, but they literally emptied out their prisons to send them here, and because they talked about how the crime rate down when the borders were opened up here. So it makes sense if you connect the dots. That's my thing. I talk about that on Sundays. I like to connect the dots. One thing may not mean nothing by itself, but when you see what's going on here and what's going on over there, and you connect the dots, you're going, oh shit, it ain't a conspiracy theory. It's true. It really is happening. So it's crazy.
Well, and that's the thing, the mainstream media. If you look at how they've lied to us, like blatantly, and as blatant as there was nothing wrong with the previous president's mental condition. I know how I don't want to
Hey,
go
Ellie.
too far. Yeah, I don't want to go too far on your channel with
No.
yeah.
Hey, Carl, I'm glad to have you, brother.
Yeah,
Usually it's just usually these guys are just listening to me rant on and
yeah,
ramble, and so I try to be like stay with a structured conversation,
yeah,
but like I say, I interact with the chat room and we get off into some rabbit holes,
yeah.
and it's all good. Like Rusty Nuts, that's a good man there.
Hey,
Me and
Rusty.
him message back and forth all the time, and like I said, and I've got a portion of a video. Uh, Jen has a YouTube channel called Band History, and he's got part one of the documentary. I think you guys remember if you're on my live streams on Sundays that there's going to be some documentary made, and I was going to be part of it, or I was going to actually do my own. And then he said, "Well, I'm doing one," and I said, "Well, I'd like to contribute to yours. I'm not a movie maker," and he does a really good job. So I've got some of that part one of that video for the Haitian problem in Springfield, and then part two, there's going to be a little bit more involvement, I hope, with me and some interviews of some people that I talked to in this town. But we'll watch that here in a few, and you guys check him out on YouTube. It's called Band History. That's all you got to type in, and you'll find it. He's got several videos of stuff that quite interesting things on about the TikTok situation, and just several things. So
So
we'll get to that in a little bit.
can I ask
Yeah,
you a question about
yeah.
the situation in Springfield with the Haitian population? Now I know last night we kind of touched on it a little bit. Um, do you notice um, that tampering down? Do you notice the same amount of Haitians in your town um, as of after Trump won the election? Because I remember you said there
Um,
were some moving trucks or there was hard to get a U-Haul.
right. Yeah. It's, a few of them is self-deported, at least self-deported from this town. But they have a serious fear ICE will be paying a visit to our town in the very near future. The problem with our town is, ICE says they're going after the people who have uh, perpetrated crimes, other crimes, not just crossing the border, but crimes they've done since they've been here. The problem is with our town is our crimes as far as reporting crimes, but are prosecuting the crimes didn't. So they're not even prosecuting, so they're not being held accountable. So ICE doesn't know these people are committing crimes and repeat offenders because our local politicians and the local is kicking their cases. It's the
Yeah.
same thing with traffic violations. They never get past it. And I have a video on my channel where a guy actually had 3 traffic violations, and if you check his record, he has 0. So they'll never be held accountable with the way our local politicians handle things around here. It's
And
crazy. You
and
should
they're
they should go to jail themselves.
yeah, absolutely. They're trying to do that in Allentown, by the way. There's For those of you guys that don't know, I live in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and there is a city councilwoman. Her name is Cece Gerlach, and she was just on the news the other day talking about how she's going to basically protect the illegal aliens. If anybody's ever been in Allentown, there's a very large Hispanic community, but most of them are from Puerto Rico, right? So they're legal citizens here. Occasionally, you get the ones from New York, and lately we've been getting a lot of them. So there's going to be a city council meeting, and I have a couple of questions that I want to ask her. And one of them is Cece, if I take my family and I break into your house and I live there, are you going to call the cops and throw me out? Because essentially, when you come into the United States, you're breaking a law. You're breaking into our house. And I'm going to ask her, can we eat your groceries and you're going to continue to pay for them? And when she brings up the children, because on my local news, they're already showing pictures of the crying little immigrant children. You know, I'm going to ask her, well, I know you feel bad for those children, but do you feel bad for the father of Lincoln Riley that's crying? Do you feel bad for the little child, the father that died from fentanyl poisoning? Do you feel bad for them? Are you crying for them? You know, do you feel bad for these 300,000 children that just went missing under Joe Biden and Trump is working on finding them, that have been brought into this country, slave labor, sex trafficking? Do you feel bad for them because you were silent doing all of that? I mean, I'm sure they'll throw me out pretty quick, but these are just questions I need answered. And we should all be asking our politicians that. If you live in a city or a state where the leftists run it and they want to protect these illegal immigrants, we need to start asking our politicians how that makes our life better. It doesn't make my life better. It makes my life more complicated. I have to worry about safety. I don't know who's living next door to me, who's popping in and out left and right from New York. It's insanity. Even though Trump's working on it, unfortunately, if you live somewhere like in New York City or you live somewhere in Allentown, because it's like a freaking migrant train coming in and out of here sometimes.
Yeah, and you know, Carl, the politicians and the mainstream media have learned nothing. I was just watching an interview with J.D. Vance, and I seen one with Tom Holman on another one, but he was doing a Face the Nation interview, I do believe. And every time they want to talk about the people who are getting caught up in these raids when they're going in after the repeat offender guys to try to get them out of the country, that if somebody else is there and they are illegals, they get caught up in it and they get shipped out too. They seem to want to skip over the fact that they also broke the law. And if they are associating themselves with these criminals, then there might be a risk of them staying in the country anyway if they're associating with them. But they don't want to listen. They want to, I mean, J.D. Vance, I tell you, the more I watch him get interviewed, the more I like this man because he doesn't let them get away with anything. He holds the mainstream media to account, and they get all fumbled. They don't know how to handle him. It is hilarious to watch.
Yeah, he's definitely a master of handling the media. I think he does it in a very articulate manner, and I think he throws them off kilter with his responses.
Right, because they're used to Trump being, bombastic.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
and he's not. He's polite. He's kind. He's just he kills them with kindness, but he doesn't let them get away with anything. That's what I like about him.
No.
But
Yes, he's.
I tell you what, you were asking about Springfield. We talked about this a little bit last night. It has gotten quiet here, but the nonprofits are sending out pamphlets, giving instructions on these Haitians on how to divert from getting caught by ICE. If they've got like ICE lookouts. They literally have lookouts in this town for looking for ICE agents to come into town. And it's just ridiculous. And our local politicians are right there with them, thinking it's horrible that ICE may come in here and you know upset the apple cart a little bit.
You mean
Our mayor's got to our mayor's got to go. Our mayor's got to get the hell out of here.
It's like, what are your priorities as a politician? You take an oath to protect the citizens of the United States, not foreign invaders, and that's what these people are. They're foreign invaders. They're coming here to take our jobs. You know, I saw a video the other night, and I think I told you about this, about the Red Cross and how they're helping these illegal immigrants that are here file documents for free, something they would normally have to do. They're paying for attorneys for these illegal immigrants, basically. So you should be giving no money to the Red Cross. But, you know, these politicians. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and everybody's all up in arms about them canceling that app to where the illegals can get on there and file for asylum through that app. And then they'll allow them to walk across the southern border after they fill that form out. Doesn't really have to prove that they really need asylum. They just have to fill the damn thing out on the app and they can walk right in. I'm so glad they canceled that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. It's like when you're a politician and you're sworn in, you take an oath to protect the American citizen. But these politicians, they're not protecting American citizens. They're not concerned about the people in America. They're concerned about foreign invaders that, and to be honest, I used to think it was about getting them to vote. But I more so think it's about the census and putting them in places like, say, California, New York, where they can get an additional congressperson. And I think that's the game they're playing. You know, that's why these blue cities and these blue states say, "Oh, we're sanctuary cities." If your governor or your mayor is Trump-proofing your city or your town from deporting illegal immigrants, they're basically protecting and harboring murderers, killers, drug dealers. They're not protecting their citizens from these things. We saw it with the Venezuelan gangs in Aurora, Colorado. They're taking over apartment buildings, and they started doing it in New York. You know, and
well, we have a Haitian gang right here, and they kind of control the local prostitution situation around here, and they are the group of people that was involved in that story about them sending local U.S. citizens in to purchase guns and then bringing them out to the parking lot and giving them to them. So now they're stockading guns. So, and I told you last night, Carl, I think when ICE finally shows up, there may be some kind of a gunfight going on between ICE and this Haitian gang. So, you know, I'm kind of curious to see what happens because I live not too far away from this house that is supposedly stockpiling the weapons. So I'll hear it.
I mean, somebody. I mean, to be honest, like somebody should tip off ICE where this freaking house is so they can go in. So because when you start having things like that pop off, innocent people are going to die. I mean, there's children, I'm sure, around. And it's just like the fact that the local police, I'm assuming you have what, like a local sheriff's office that is the main police force in the area?
Yeah.
City police.
We had city police, and then which we're so far down on personnel here. I forget how many openings they have, but it's pretty horrible. So that's why they have to bring in the county sheriff and all that to help police in town. They didn't used to have to do that, but they do now. And, you know, and then they have the Highway State Patrol that comes in and helps with traffic because we don't have enough police to handle traffic violations because there's so many Haitians that crash. And we just had an incident day before yesterday with another Haitian driver. So I mean, it's I don't know why they can't drive. I don't get it.
Well, probably because maybe they don't have many cars in Haiti. Yeah, it's usually
Yeah,
one
probably
person and
true.
a bunch. It's usually a little old white Toyota pickup truck with a bunch of people hanging off the back. Oh,
Well, no, hey, here they
I
drive
bet.
nice cars. They
I'm
got
sure.
nice rides here. Yeah, a
Well,
lot better than I got. That's for
that's
sure.
government funding for you. That's those NGOs making sure they're
I give it
yep
this to nonprofits. Yeah,
yep
nonprofits don't
making
forget
sure
them.
they're living large. Why you know, and that's the thing. Like these NGOs, it's still your tax money. They're still getting grants from the government.
Oh yeah. Hey, it's funny when Vivek was here. One of them people was in the town hall meeting, and he literally tried to pitch it to JD or to Vivek about uh, if he, talk to President Trump, if President Trump might win, if he could help get funding for his nonprofit here in town. I was like, and everybody was booing him. They were booing him. It's like, because they're so sick of it. Yeah, it's actually recorded. That town hall meeting was recorded, so you can go back and watch it. People can see it. A lady literally got up and called him out on his BS, and they had a little back and forth. It was kind of funny. But it was Springfield, Ohio, who convinced Vivek Ramaswamy to run for governor of Ohio. It happened in that town hall meeting. They
That's
asked
awesome.
him to run. They asked him to run, and he said, "Well, I never thought about it till 10 seconds ago." And now he's running for governor.
That's
And our
awesome.
governor is part of the problem of why we have the Haitian problem that we have. Our governor is part of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, most of the politicians and it's Republicans and Democrats that are part of this problem, and they've been part of this problem for years. You know, I don't even look at myself as per se a Republican anymore. I just look at myself as a MAGA first, America first uh, party. Because we got John Thune. Yeah, he's doing what he's supposed to do right now, but I feel like he had to be threatened into pushing these things through. Because you have JD Vance that can go in there basically and take control of the Senate anytime he wants. And I think basically President Trump had a conversation with him, basically saying, hey, you're either going to get my picks through or I'm going to send JD Vance in here and he's going to run the show. And we're going to get things on the floor and we're going to get things going, because Thune is a puppet of Mitch McConnell. He always has been. And that's the problem. I was so upset when he became a Speaker of the Senate. I was like, are you kidding me? Of all the people?
Yep. And it's we were talking about it last night. There's some Republicans that's got to be primary. They got to go. They're not part of the agenda. They're always bucking the system when it comes to like Trump's agenda is the people's agenda.
Yep.
Not a Republican agenda, but the people's agenda. He won not to me, not as a Republican. He won as an American populist.
Yep.
He wants America to be great. He don't want the party to be great. He could give a shit about the party. He wants America to be great. And if that means kicking some of them people out of the party, because it's a two-party system, no matter how you look at it, so you got to align with one or the other. So he's aligned with the Republican Party right now. So there's some people that are only Republican in name only, and they got to get the hell up out of there. They got to go.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to compile a list. And obviously it's Mitch McConnell. I don't think he's going to run again, to be honest with you. He's old as dirt. His brain just stops working in the middle of press conferences. So I think he's checking out. But you got what, Susan Collins, and then you got what's that other lady's name?
Is it
Uh,
Mikowski?
Lisa Murkowski, right? So there's two right there. And like I said last night, I don't care personally if we lose that seat to a Democrat because it doesn't make a difference. But we need to primary these people to send a message that MAGA and the American people will not tolerate any dissent. We will not tolerate any dissent from our agenda, and the agenda is to make America great again. We did all the work. We're the ones that volunteered, knocked on doors, registered voters, went to the rallies, donated money to the RNC, donated our time on election day to work the polls. We put Trump in there. That was us. We overcame the fraud. Right? We put
Trump in there. I donated money when I couldn't afford it. I couldn't afford it, and I felt like I needed to at least do something.
Yeah.
So what little bit I had, I donated money to run for president.
Yeah. So these Republicans and rhinos have to realize that it's our win. It's not just Trump's win. It's our win. When they were attacking him, and with all the political lawfare and everything, we stood behind him. We didn't abandon him. MAGA stayed with him. When I was in Butler and they shot him at that rally, the people scattered a little bit, but we came all back in to make sure the president was safe. So we stood with him through everything. Our prayers, kept I've been
with him since he came down the escalator.
And
I've been with him since he came down the escalator. Yeah. So, and I tell you why, Carl. Because my mom was a devout Democrat most of her life. And I say most of her life because I finally convinced her at the end of her life. I think she did it because she knows she needed to get right with God. But anyway, but me and my mom would have conversations all the way back to the 90s about, I used to tell her, Mom, we need a businessman in there because a businessman knows that the government isn't a business. It should be ran like one, but these politicians don't know how to do this, and they're not held accountable when they have failures. A businessman will hold somebody accountable if they don't do right by them. America should be treated like a company because they take in our money and they spend our money, but they don't get held accountable when they waste our money. If you are a CEO and you waste the company's money, you're going to get ousted really damn quick. And they just don't have that fear of wasting our money and losing their seat. That's got to change. That's the whole thing's got to change.
Something people have to remember that it's always in my head. The fake Bob Mueller investigation, we funded that. The Jack Smith investigation, we funded that. The J6 committee, we paid for that. All of it. The Hollywood production for TV, that was the taxpayers that paid for that. The amount of money that was wasted on something that they knew was a lie. They knew it was fraud. The other side knew what they were doing was a lie. But they didn't care that they were wasting millions of our dollars. They didn't care that there's homeless veterans in the street, that money could help. They didn't care about the poor, black kids in the inner city or Hispanic kids in the inner city, that schools are failing them, that money could have helped. No. They cared more about attacking their political enemy than they do this country and the welfare of this country and the welfare of the American people. That should tell you something. And Republicans stood by and let it happen. They would go on Fox News, on Sean Hannity, and, they would be like, oh, Sean, we're doing this and we're doing that. Meanwhile, they're not doing a damn thing.
Right. Republicans haven't done nothing serious. If they do what Trump's agenda is, if they go through with it, I will have, my respect will be back with the Republicans, because right now, when it comes to things that I find important, and I think a lot of people do, uh, one is obviously uh, financial fiscal responsibility, and also things like on the agenda, like I like term limits. You know what I mean? That's just
Yeah.
as important. Uh, the staff people need to have term limits too on their jobs and their positions. But these people don't, and also they shouldn't be allowed to involve themselves personally in the stock market, and nor their
No.
families, like their immediate family, shouldn't be allowed to do that. But
Yeah.
Republicans never want to go that far because they don't want to be that person, that guy, that girl that went against the grain. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think it's because they're part of the problem too. Because let's be honest. I mean, who thought that it would be a good idea to allow lobbyists in Washington, D.C.? You have big pharma lobbyists, you have military industrial complex lobbyists. That's why these people that we send
Hey,
there,
Vern.
our Congress people and our senators that we send there, they're not representing us. They're representing their pocket. They're representing the lobbyist in D.C. That's all they care about. That's why, you know, Lindsey Graham is always on Fox and other outlets talking about, we need to go to war. We need to do this. We can't let the thing in Ukraine. We can't let Putin win. Blah 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 blah. More money. Our kids might have to go there. It's not his kids that are going to die on a foreign battlefield. It's ours. It's not his money that's getting wasted. It's ours. And so it's easy to talk a big game, especially when you have the military industrial complex lobbying you and padding your pocket. It's easy to sit there and spout your mouth off like you're the one that's going to fight this war while you're sitting in your office in Washington, D.C., not doing a damn thing while my kid's dying or your kid's dying. We need to get rid of lobbying in Washington, D.C. I think that would fix a large portion of the problems we have with our politicians, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and I do this all the time. I use AOC as the big uh, person that proves that very point. Is when a bartender who is not even she's still paying her college loans off and has no money, and then within 6 years of being in Congress is now worth almost $29 million
Yeah.
within 6 years. Goes from having nothing to $29 million.
We're in the wrong business, James. we should have been.
I could never be a federal politician. I'm too honest.
I hear you. That's the problem. We wouldn't last because we tell the truth, and we're not gonna sit there and feed into the lies. And that's
Yeah, I'd be another Trump. Probably not so bombastic, but I would be that person that would tell you what I think about you and your policies and stuff to your face, and I'd tell the American people the truth. I don't think you should hide anything unless it is something that is would be against national security.
yeah.
Everything else should be out on the
Yeah,
table.
I mean, we're all grown-ups. Like, we fund this government, I mean, unless it's like you said, like the JFK stuff, like that should have been out a long time ago. And I get the
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, the family wanting to review the documents. I understand there's a lot of stuff in there about affairs that he had and blackmail from the
Yeah,
CIA. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I understand the family doesn't want the humiliation, um, all of it out there. But the involvement of the government basically threatening him, you should kill yourself or this stuff's going to come out, because that's basically what the CIA said to him.
yeah,
That should have been out a long time ago. And this business with these drones that were flying over New Jersey, like why are we not hearing anything about that yet? I wish Trump would come out and say something about that, to be honest with you. And I know he's got a lot on his plate. I know he's doing a lot of things. He's busy.
He's a busy guy.
He is.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. And I said this about what we were talking about, something that ending the Ukraine war.
Mhm.
What people don't know is, well, everybody does know because it's public knowledge. They are in the negotiations right now. Called Trump. Zelensky has already said that he is willing to negotiate with Putin. So they are moving forward with ending the war. It's not ended today. It didn't end on day one, but the process started before day one. And it takes time because, Zelensky doesn't want to give up, none or at least support too much of his country. And Putin wants to take more than he'll get. That's where the negotiations come through. And I believe Trump's going to tell Putin, here's what you're going to get, and this is the way it's going to be. Be happy with this. You're getting more than you deserve, and it's going to be done.
Yeah,
but
and people aren't dying anymore.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah,
but he was playing golf today. I mean, the man never stops.
No, I mean, I watch him, and the energy he has. It's like, wow. Like I don't have that energy, and I'm only 51. I don't have the energy that man has.
He had all the inauguration parties and get-togethers. He did all the executive orders. He flew over to Davos. He did that over there. He come back. He went to California. He went to North Carolina. I mean, he went to Florida. And then he went back to D.C. And I'm trying to think of what he did when he went back to D.C. I can't remember right now. Darn it. And then he's playing golf on this weekend.
Yep.
I mean, the man never stops.
No.
I don't have that kind of energy.
No, it's insane. Do you think that we will ever get the complete truth about what happened with RFK?
I think that'll be up to his family, to be honest. Kind of like the MLK. I think if the families let them review it, that is their right. They should have the right because they're the ones that really deserve to know what really happened. And then it's up to them to say, okay, President Trump, you can release this.
Yeah.
And then, it's not the government holding information back. It's the family doesn't want this kind of stuff out in the public eye, and it's their right. So I believe we'll know part of it. We probably won't know all of it, but I think with the RFK stuff, we'll probably know a whole lot.
You think we'll ever know about the drones?
Yes. Yes, I do. I think that they're stonewalling him. It's kind of like the DEI stuff you've seen where they got caught changing people's job titles so they didn't have to fire them because Trump said fire all of them. And then they were changing their titles, giving them different titles. So now what that means is we're paying somebody that's got a new title, which they probably don't deserve, because if they're head of DEI, that means they don't have much knowledge in anything else in whatever department they're in.
Yeah.
So all they're about is diversity, inclusion, whatever. So I think they're stonewalling still. You still got those people in the government that are lying to him, or not telling him the whole truth, hiding stuff. It's going to take time for him to weed that shit out.
Yeah, and the thing is we're never gonna completely drain the swamp because it's too deep.
Yeah, at least not 4 years.
It'll never happen. There's. And that's the problem, these bureaucrats like Fauci or like a Mark Milley, they look at the president as they change every 4 years. Administrations change every 4 years, but we're here permanently, We're here permanently. So in some aspects, they believe that they control the policy of the United States. They believe that they control and dictate what wars we get involved in. Um, Much like Fauci, finding an end run around funding certain things in other countries. I'm trying. I don't want to.
Well,
I
look
don't,
at
don't want to get your channel demonetized, so I'm trying to work around that.
no, we're
I
good. Well, look at Bolton and Pompeo.
Yeah.
Now, the mainstream media is saying that Trump is wrong because these people were involved in assassinations of certain individuals, terrorists and people like that, so that they need security protection. The problem is I kind of get Trump because both these people talk bad about Trump once they got out of office with him because they didn't do what Trump asked them to do. You know what I mean? They act like they were doing whatever job he asked them to do, and then they end up not doing it because they thought they knew better than
wasn't
him. And they are all, huh?
wasn't there
What's
a
that?
senator that was trying to remove Trump's Secret Service detail if he went to prison and he became a convicted felon? Do you remember
Yes,
that? The media
yes.
was silent about that. Not They didn't say it was wrong or it shouldn't happen. They were silent. Nothing. But yet bureaucrats that made plenty of money in the government that can afford their own security. And by the way, I was at Trump rallies after the assassination attempt, and Trump had to pay for his own private security to comb through that crowd because the Secret Service wouldn't give him the additional detail that he needed from Biden. So, boohoo, cry me a river. Fauci made enough money.
Well, that's like they denied RFK,
Yes. Yes.
a security detail, all the way up until after Trump's assassination
Yep.
attempt. Then they decided to do it. So yeah, so
Because they had to.
all these people can cry a river, just like
Yeah.
you said. You're right. They had to. It was bad optics if they
Yeah.
didn't. That it's all about looking good. It's not about doing the right thing. It's about looking good.
Yeah, and that's all
You
they
know.
care about. They care about the optics of it. And that's the problem with the politicians even today. A lot of them that we're seeing. Um,
Thanks, Holly.
hey, Holly, how you doing? A lot of them that we're seeing, they still think that people get their news from the mainstream media, and they're still worried about MSNBC or CNN or Fox calling them a racist or uh, they don't care about the children. They still think that matters. People don't watch regular
Well,
news. They don't.
like I said earlier, they haven't learned anything, Carl. They haven't learned a damn thing. They're still being combative when they have an interview with somebody on the right. They're still like trying to do some kind of bogus fact checking with them while
Yep.
they're talking
The
to
gotcha
them. And
questions.
instead of just asking questions and then accepting the answer, they want to argue with them about their answer.
Yep.
It's kind of ridiculous. They haven't learned nothing, not a thing.
No, and I don't think they ever will. And that's why, like you said, MSNBC and CNN, they're going away. Nobody's watching them. you know, uh, when people want news, they come to places like
Thanks,
us.
Holly.
You know what I mean? They're coming to your channel. They're coming to my channel. That's why our channels grow so fast, because we report the truth. We put our spin on it, but we're not lying to anybody. We're
Yeah, and speaking of your channel, I gotta put this out there one more time. For those of you guys on Saturday nights at 7:30 on Rumble, we get to talk about whatever we want, however we want. It's such a feeling of freedom to be able to express yourself in a way that you're not going to get demonetized or strike or asked to have your live stream deleted, as I have. I've broken a few rules and didn't realize it at the time. So I've got videos that's been demonetized. I had to remove a live stream because of the content. So, if you want the whole truth and nothing but the truth, 7:30 Saturday nights on Rumble, Killer Carl. I'm always there. Carl's there, and Tyler's there too. I was hoping he'd pop in here, but he ain't done it yet. But yeah, sorry, Carl.
No, no. His wife probably is like, you're driving back tonight to work. You're not going on. You're not going on live stream again. It's probably had to. I get it. He had to spend time with his family. It happens, right? You got a new baby.
Oh yeah.
Got a new baby, but
no, I'm tickled you're here, Carl. Yeah, like I said, usually it's just these guys listening to me rambling on.
Well, no, and that's the thing, like with the mainstream media, and just it shows you how much they lie to you. We talked about this the other night. Again, we clearly had a president, the previous president, with a cognitive problem. Mike Johnson. It drives me crazy that Mike Johnson sat down with him, right? And said, when I came out of that meeting, I was stunned because Biden didn't know he signed an executive order to stop fracking for natural gas. He looked at me and said, I did. At what point, Mike Johnson, do you not call that to somebody's attention? I mean, they forced President Trump. Well, they didn't force. President Trump said, I'll just do it, to take a cognitive test. Did the mainstream media ever ask that of our previous president? If you brought it up,
well, they acted offended.
Yeah,
that the right asked for that test.
It's like you guys are such hypocrites, and it's like they don't realize that people have a memory, and I think that they believe that the news cycle moves so fast, and we get inundated with so much information that things that we heard a week ago, it feels, and it does feel this way. It feels like it was a year ago. You know what I mean? So it's almost like they count on people being so involved with their lives that they're hearing sound bites, right? Because most people get their news in sound bites. They really do. You're in the morning, you're drinking your coffee. You might turn on the news, right? You might turn on your local news, but you're on your phone, looking at whatever while the news is playing in the background, and you're getting sound bites of things that happen throughout the day, and you're not getting a clear picture of actually what happened. And that's kind of. Go ahead.
Like I said before, Carl, Johnson didn't grow a set of balls until after President Trump won. Before that, he acted like a scared little kid. You know what I mean? It's like he didn't want to upset the apple cart. But right after Trump won, then all of a sudden, he's the big guy on campus. You know what I mean? We're going to turn things around.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and tells that story. He waits till after Trump wins the election to tell that story. And that story was a year old at the time.
I know. And it's the thing is this guy that's sitting in the Oval Office is negotiating supposedly with China, Putin, and he has his freaking finger on the nuclear football. And you don't say anything. You don't come out and hold a press conference. You don't alert the media about it. Why? Because you're afraid of what? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid of the media attacking you, going, oh, that's not true? I mean, you didn't even think to alert the American people or even huddle with your fellow Congress people and go, hey, this guy's not on his rocker. He doesn't know what he's doing. That is a danger to all of us, no matter which side of the aisle you fall down on politically. The fact, and don't give me that his staff was running things. We didn't vote for his staff to run things. We voted for the President of the United States. Well, I didn't, but I guess somebody did. They voted for Biden to be president, right? They didn't vote for his staff, to write executive orders. They didn't vote for his staff to give pardons. That's Biden's decision. But yet, clearly, He wasn't making those decisions. You know, and the mainstream media acted surprised. Do you remember how surprised they acted after the debate? Remember, they were,
Oh yeah.
oh my God, I would have never known. Can you believe this? Oh, can you believe, James, that Biden is not all in his? He seemed to be having cognitive difficulty. Duh, dude. Where have you been for the past 3 years?
Yeah, and it was like 48 hours before that debate. Morning Joe was saying that he personally had talked to Biden, and he's the sharpest and clearest, if more focused than he's ever been. And 48 hours before that debate. It's hilarious how much they want to lie for this guy. We survived the last 4 years of the worst administration in the history of our U.S. government. Anybody who says anybody's been worse than Biden these last 4 years, I'd like to know who that was, because I don't think there is. Now, Jimmy Carter finally ended up not being the worst one in history. Now, because he was like the worst one at the time before Biden got in office. Now, now Jimmy Carter wasn't quite that bad, but he still gave up the Panama Canal.
Oh, we're taking it back.
Dumbass.
We're taking it back. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's not gonna be that easy to take it back, but I think we can.
I think it's going to be a little easier than what we thought. Like, the thing that concerns me about the Panama Canal and us taking it back is we know the Chinese have been running it, and we know that they have put backdoor software into it. We know that, just like the cranes that we have on our ports, and just like you were saying, the drones you buy off Amazon, it's a Chinese app you have to download to fly it. Your security camera that you buy off Amazon.
People are worried about TikTok. That's what I'm saying. Everybody was worried about TikTok. TikTok is not. It's a social problem because of all the ignorance that goes on TikTok. All these young people getting on here with some of the dumbest points of views, and they do almost self-harm themselves to get clicks. You know what I'm saying? So that's a social
It's
problem.
that way on Instagram. It's that way on Facebook.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So TikTok is no different than the rest of those. But your drones, you download an app. Now you got China that can go in a back door and do whatever they want. Your phone, they can do whatever they want. They have the ability. The computer you're on.
Yeah.
If that camera's on, they can chime in and see what's going on right now. If they want, we're live stream, but I'm saying if that thing's on and I ain't even on live stream, they can still do that. So TikTok is not the problem.
No, it isn't. And people that I said this to you the last time we streamed, people that are celebrating the fact that TikTok was taken off of the App Store, you're celebrating giving up your rights to the government. You're basically allowing the Senate and the Congress to tell you what apps you can have on your phone. It's no different than the Patriot Act. That didn't make us any safer. It just took away our rights.
No.
Right? That's all it did. And that's all that's happening. And our side, the conservative MAGAs, were celebrating this like it was some type of a win. It wasn't a win. You've just surrendered your rights. People think about things emotionally. And you need to step back and think logically. The government doesn't do anything to protect you, really. It's always to control you. It's always to get you to surrender more of your rights and your liberties, just like gun-free zones. Doesn't make anybody safer.
No, a armed society is a polite society.
Absolutely. Think about it. Where do all these shootings happen? Where do the mass shootings usually happen? Gun-free zones. Gee, I wonder why. Yep. That's the thing. They can create more gun laws. They can create all the gun laws they want. But it's not going to stop anything. You have a gun-free zone, Do you think the guy with the gun that's going to go shoot up the school, do you think he stops and looks at the sign and goes, oh, no, you know what? I was going to do this today, but I can't. It's a gun-free zone. No, 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 because criminals don't listen to rules. They don't listen to laws. They do what they want. And the government disarming you, the government now being able to dictate what apps you can have. If the government really cared about you, and they cared about China, why'd they let a spy balloon fly over the entire United States, sending sensitive military information back to China in real time? You know, why did they allow China to put all this backdoor software into our infrastructure? Why are they not hardening our electrical grid? Because they don't care. It's not about protecting you from China. It's about limiting your rights, limiting your ability to be able to communicate with other like-minded people. But look at what they did during the epidemic. You know, when people were being deplatformed, that were telling the truth. Now you find out everything they said was the truth.
Plus, people got to realize something. Politicians are not experts. They are not experts on fortifying the electric grid. They are not experts on climate change. They are not experts on, they're not even experts on the damn Constitution. If they don't, they need to carry that little one in their pocket because they surely don't know a whole lot about the Constitution. No. So everybody thinks that politicians are experts. They're not experts. They're no different than you and I. They are only educated on stuff that they are what interests them. So if it's something that doesn't interest them, they don't educate themselves on it, but yet they still vote on this stuff.
Most of them.
So, we got to just,
most of them are failed attorneys. That's what they are. They couldn't make it as attorneys in the private sector, so they end up becoming politicians. I mean, look at how many of them come. Look at Joe Biden, for instance. He never had a normal job. Spent his whole life grifting off the government. That's what he did.
Yeah. Same as Bernie Sanders. Yep. Same as a lot of Mitch McConnell, Schumer, Nancy Pelosi. They have spent their entire lives in politics.
Do you know that Nancy Pelosi, remember Obamacare when it was first implemented? She gave her friends in California an exemption from Obamacare. If it's so great, why are you exempting yourself and your rich buddies? Why is that?
Well, they got it. They exempted themselves too, Carl. Yeah. Remember that? They exempted themselves.
Anything you pass for the American people as a congressman or a senator, you have to have yourself. That's just the way it should be. There should be laws stating that. Why should you get an exemption and we don't?
I've always believed that. I cannot believe when they try to shove something down our throats, and yet they put in that little clause that it's something that they don't have to abide by. They've always done that. They've done that as far back as I can remember. I mean, even when Reagan was in office, they were doing that thing. They were exempting themselves from certain things. It's always been that way, and it's got to stop. But it's our fault because we vote these people in.
It is. It is our fault. And the rights that we have lost, it's our fault. Because, unfortunately, for too many years, the American people didn't think that these politicians made a difference in their lives, that voting made a difference in their lives. Things were so good in America. Even when they were bad, they were still good, Your average person in poverty still owned a car and had an air conditioner and a TV, right? I live in Allentown. There's poverty all over this place, but I see kids with newer iPhones than I have, right? So
most of America don't know what real poverty is.
No, we have no clue. So, and that's, like I said, one of the things that scares me most about how great things are going to be under Trump is that people will begin to forget what it was like under the previous administration. People will forget what it's like, to have a government basically tell you can't leave your house and tell you have to take certain things, and the government working with social media, deplatform people that their point of views they don't like. It scares me that people could actually forget that, because when times are good, they're good, and you're focused on the good things. You're focused on, it's like
Yeah.
the bad things never happened, right?
Yeah, but you know what, Carl? That's why we're here. We're here to remind everybody. When you think you forgot about something, we got to remind them. Do you remember when?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You gotta keep people thinking. Do you remember when? And
Yeah,
then
because
they may appreciate what's going on in the now, and go through and make sure the politicians make sure that what happened before cannot happen again. It's like, you know, the Republicans are still wanting to do, committees and investigate the lawfare and all the things that everybody's been pardoned for, the J6 committee and all this. American people still want to know, what did they stuff wrong? That, you know what I
yeah,
mean? How did these people in other states, you know, file all this lawfare against President Trump? And it was all coming from the White House. So whether anybody can go to prison over it or not, people still like to know. And all the millions of dollars that was spent on the hoaxes, like the Russia thing, we can spend a couple $1,000,000 trying to find out what these people really did, and make sure that we put laws in place that they can't do it again.
you know, I told you this the other night. I was watching. It was inauguration night, actually, and I was laying down in bed, and I'm like, I want to see what's going on Fox, right? I don't normally watch Fox. Turned it on, and Hannity was on there, and he starts talking about how, we should look forward and not backwards. We should just let, you know, what happened be in the past and just focus on making America great, not try to hold it. I got to tell you something. I don't think the American people can move forward till we hold people accountable. People that were in prison for J6, they're not going to get their lives back. Their lives are ruined. They've lost time with their families. They've lost jobs. They've lost their homes. They've gotten divorces. People had committed suicide because of what the government was doing to them. What about those elderly people that were in prison for praying outside of an abortion clinic? Where do they go to get their lives back? There's got to be accountability, because if there isn't, I believe the American people are going to lose a faith in the system. They're going to lose faith in the system, and it's going to be, just like you said the other night, rules for thee, not for me mentality.
Yep.
Right? These people can just do whatever they want. They can have all the corruption in the world, do things that your average person would go to prison, like Bill said about Hunter and what happened with him and the gun crime. You would be in prison for that. There's people sitting in prison for that, by the way, right now. Where do those people go to get retribution? Where does the guy that his livelihood was streaming and got deplatformed and lost all of his audience and his money, where do they go to get their revenue back and their lives back? We have to hold these people accountable. I have no time for any politician or any on-air personality that sits there and tells me that we got to let things go. Because you're part of the problem. Because that's the problem. We let things go and they continue to happen, and we never solve the problem. We can never move forward till we fix the past. It's reality. You know, they want us, these politicians want us to trust them, and they want us to send them back to Washington to do the work of the people. Well, prove to us you deserve it. And now's the time.
Yeah,
Sorry.
and Carl, oh, you're good.
Yeah.
I watched. I've been trying to watch a lot of these J6 interviews. All the people that's been interviewed since they've been released and been pardoned. It's exactly what you said. There's people that like walked into that building for 90 seconds and faced 18 months. There's people that went in and took like 2 pictures and he did a live stream while he was in there, and he got 3 years. You know what I mean? He said he lost his business. He had just had a baby. His baby was 6 months old when they told him he was going to be locked up. And then you got it's funny because JD Vance, he was, like I said, he was doing an interview, and they were like trying to pound on him about the J6 pardons, about the guy that tased the Capitol policeman, the one that had the heart attack a couple of days later. I guess he got tased in the altercation. But what they wasn't saying was the Capitol Police was hitting this man with a baton for no reason, and he tased him. He had a taser. But he was making a big deal that she was making a big deal that Trump pardoned this individual. But then J.D. Vance had to remind him that Biden had just pardoned a gentleman that killed 2 federal officers.
Yeah.
Already convicted and set in prison, and he got pardoned. What about the families of those 2 federal officers that died on the scene that day, and not somebody who was just in an altercation, unfortunately had a heart attack a few days later? It's unfortunate, but it's not like he got killed on sight. And he was hitting this individual that tased him with a baton. So, they want him. And they kept saying, well, we're not talking about Biden. We're talking about President Trump right now, who pardoned J6ers. He said, well, you can't talk about that if you can't talk about Biden releasing somebody who was convicted of killing 2 federal officers.
Yeah.
That is worse than any and all the J6ers that got released.
The only people that died on J6 was Ashley Babbitt and Roseanne Boylan. That was it. Where does Ashley Babbitt's mom go to get the time back with her daughter? Because some reckless Capitol police officer who should have been fired when he left his loaded pistol in the bathroom.
Bathroom? Yeah.
And walked out and forgot. He should have been fired, but no. He kills an innocent, unarmed woman. An innocent, unarmed woman. Let that soak in. He didn't even say, stop or I'm going to fire. Nothing, just fires. And he's promoted. And Ashley it makes me so mad. I can barely talk when I talk about this because it's like you have a family that doesn't have a daughter right now, a husband that doesn't have a wife, a combat veteran that served this country honorably, killed for no reason. There's no reason for it. Where do those people go to get their retribution? And that's the thing we got to ask these politicians, and we got to remind them that we're not going to forget this. We're not going to forget the past. We need retribution for the past. We need justice. Because I personally can't move on or trust my government because, God forbid, James, in 4 years, a Democrat wins. You don't think they're going to come after us even harder than what they did to whip us back in the line? They're going to.
I 100% believe that. That's why the next 18 months or however 2 years, I say 18 months, it's got to count. They got to make it count for something. They got to make sure. My thing is I have a thing. If somebody does me wrong, I have to get them back 2 times over. so that they know to
Yep.
never do me wrong again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a lot of them, they're all pardoned now. This is
Yep.
funny. It's like a preemptive pardon. Pardon. They looked it up. It's legal. The president has a right to do that. But when you do all these preemptive pardons and nobody's even talking about charging some of these people with anything,
But
that
it's
right there tells you that they worry about that. They claim that
the,
it's revenge or whatever. But you can't. You're supposed to not be able to throw people in prison unless they actually did something wrong.
well, they did it.
I know, but I
There was
mean,
a
we wouldn't
yeah.
do that. But we
No.
wouldn't do that.
Well, we got to get over that and start doing it because um, we got to hold these people accountable. The thing is the preemptive pardon that's never been challenged in front of the Supreme Court. Nobody knows if that actually stands. I think the only person to really ever get that was Nixon, right?
Yeah. The language
And
in
the only reason
the, the
the only
language in
reason he got the only
go
reason
ahead.
he got the pardon the only reason he got the pardon was because they wanted to do it just to try to bring the country back together. We don't even know if you can be pardoned for a crime you haven't been charged with. There's so many variables about that I say we take it to the Supreme Court and see what happens.
Right. What and that's the thing. The pardon powers of the president. The language in that. I don't know what you call it. The section of whatever it
Yeah.
is so vague. The language is so vague. It pretty much says that he can pretty much do whatever he wants to do when it comes to a pardon. It doesn't say that you have to already committed a crime. It just says the language is kind of strange how they word it. It's almost like they worded it on
No.
purpose to give the
Yeah.
president, the ability to do that.
It,
Now they're talking about right now about changing that, which takes Congress to do. They can
yeah.
go in there and start limiting the pardon powers of the president, and I think they should. I don't think anybody
Yeah.
should get a preemptive pardon. It's like
Well,
you should already be charged for something, at least charged, not necessarily convicted, but charged to something. None of them have been charged
yeah.
for anything. They went back to 2014 with the pardons.
Yeah. Well, it
I mean,
also
come on.
said, yeah, it also says that the president can declassify any document he wants and claim it to be his. But they still raided Trump's house in Mar-a-Lago
Yeah,
and tried to throw him in jail over it.
right.
So
And
I don't,
and they
to me, like I say, we play the same game they play. Biden was told by the Supreme Court he couldn't forgive student loans, but he still did it. And he still continued to try to find loopholes to continue to do it. The thing is that I'm done playing nice as an American America First patriot. I'm done playing nice because the Democrats never play nice and they never play by the rules, and we always continue to try to play by the rules and we lose because nice guys lose last. Right? The nice guys, they never win, right? And they will they will never get it. The communists will never get it till we start playing like they play, right? Smash Mouth.
Yep. Yep. Bill, you're right. Yeah, Carl, I'm the same way. And I'm such a people. People think I'm like this, such a nice guy because I don't hold grudges and I don't, I tolerate a lot of stuff because I just assume people are just how they are, and I try to deal with whoever type of person I'm working with.
Yeah.
But when it comes to what's happened in the last 4 years, I'm like you. I'm so angry.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I can't let it go. I'm not gonna let people forget, and I'm gonna talk anybody I can talk to. I'm gonna stand up on that soapbox and I'm gonna say, remember when they did this to you? Do you want it to happen
Yep.
again? You got to think about this stuff. If you want it to happen again, then you are a fool, and you get what you deserve if you allow that to go without being challenged. At least challenge it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. We just can't allow we can't allow our politicians to get away with a pass of just going, well, because and I said this on my channel, way before Trump won. I said that these politicians, when he does win, they're going to come on and they're going to go, well, we've got a lot of work to do for the American people. We got to concentrate on fixing that. We really can't focus on, the crimes of the previous administration. The American people sent us here to make, America great again. And we got to focus on that. And that's all just jibber jabber, typical politician circle talk. And they're already starting to do it. One of the programs that I actually like on Fox that I watch religiously is Mornings with Maria. On Sunday Mornings with Maria. That's one of the only shows I watch on Fox because she doesn't play games. She asks serious questions and she has serious reactions to when politicians are blowing smoke up her butt.
Yeah, I watch her too.
But they'll go on there, and you kind of saw it a little bit this morning, going on there and Thune with the circle talk. Yeah, well, we're getting Trump's nominees through and blah blah. It's like, dude, talking about. Remember how Trump wants this one big beautiful bill, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't want it separated because he knows what'll happen is they'll put the stuff they want in the first half of the bill, right? All the commies and the rhinos will get their stuff in the first part of the bill, and the second part of the bill, the stuff that actually benefits the American people, stuff that actually Trump wants, will sit and never get through. It'll just sit there, right?
Absolutely.
I never ever
It's happened before.
Yeah, I never ever heard Nancy Pelosi say, "Oh, we can't do this. We can't get one big." No, you know what she says? We're doing it. She doesn't make excuses. Oh, I only have a slim majority. No, she says we're doing it. She doesn't make excuses, and I'm sick of the Republican Party making excuses. I'm done with it. We won. We have the majority, whether it's slim or not. We have the majority, and it's our agenda to go forward. There's no compromise. There's no negotiation. No, that's not the way it works. We have all three branches of government. It's our way or the highway. That's just the way I look at it.
See, that's one thing the Dems got something over on us is they toe the party line. If Nancy Pelosi says you guys are all going to vote yes on this, they all vote yes on it. They don't have like Murkowski and people like that saying, oh, no, I can't vote against my conscience. It just wouldn't seem right. You know what? That's part of the problem with the Republican Party. Yeah. Because it is a two-party system, and the Democrats have that on us. They toe the party line. Republicans have got to learn to make these rhinos toe the line or make them face consequences like primarying them out. If they want to stay in power, then they need to vote the way that we want them to vote.
Yeah, because Nancy Pelosi would punish people if they didn't do what she wanted. She'd punish them with fundraising. Right. She'd punish them with taking them off of the committee chairs that they want to be on. Committees. Yeah. So why are we not doing that? You want to know why? Because there are no Democrats that are Republicans, but there are Republicans that are Democrats. Look at how Republicans always will flock and support Democrat bills. Real simple. You had Murkowski and Mitch McConnell and Susan Collins. I'll bet you every single one of them voted for Rachel Levine. I'll bet you every single one of them voted for that Sam Britton. Remember the guy that was stealing the woman's luggage?
Yeah.
They voted for them. Nobody asked any psychological profile on Rachel Levine. I mean, think about this for a minute. It's a guy that dresses up like a girl and thinks he's a girl. Nobody thinks like, okay, well maybe we should ask questions. No, just vote for him.
How you doing, Frugal? Yeah, and the stealing of the luggage deal. And I tell you what, it's hilarious the people that they put in the White House these last 4 years. I mean, let's take the press secretary. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She is probably one of the worst press secretaries they've had in the last probably 5 administrations. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
But yet she got to keep her job. She couldn't answer any real question. She got flustered so much. And her only thing is I'm the first gay, black, Haitian woman to ever be a press secretary. That was her, claim to fame. Not that she did a good job.
She was good. She said she was going to be a historical figure, James.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
A
She
moron.
is.
That's about it.
Yeah. Because what's her favorite line? The president takes this matter seriously.
Of course he does.
That's what she always says. You know what I mean? He takes this matter seriously. No, he doesn't, because he doesn't know what's going on. He can't take anything seriously unless it's time to go get ice cream.
That's it. Did you see the inauguration? Like, he was literally falling asleep. It was literally Joe Biden it was like nap time.
Good deal, Frugal. Yeah, it was. My thing is, and I think I talked about this on your show, is when Barron shook Joe Biden's hand and leaned down and said something in his ear, and Biden went from this smile to this grim reaper look, like he'd just been told his ice cream got taken away and he'll never get any more.
You kind of gotta wonder what he said to him, right?
I'd like to know what he said. I would love to know what he said.
Well,
I think he'll be president one day. What do you think?
Yeah, I could see that. I could see him. Definitely, you can tell he likes politics, and I could definitely see him. Possibly governor of Florida, and then moving into presidential politics. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think so.
So
too.
my question for you, James, is: you live near Wright-Patterson Air Force Base?
Yep.
We got into this a little bit the last time. Listen, you've had to see some of the strangest shit or stuff. Sorry, strangest stuff.
Oh yeah,
over that place.
Right. Well, I have seen aircrafts that nobody ever talks about, which is kind of odd. I've seen all, everybody knows about the stealth bombers, and I've seen the shuttle come in, piggybacked into there. I've seen them practice low altitude deals. I actually seen an F-16 crash several years ago, back in the early 2000s. But I have plenty of friends who have been contracted workers that have went in and done stuff in Wright-Pat. Because, I've said it before, whatever was in Area 54, they transferred to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base.
Yeah.
Wright-Patterson Air Force Base is the epicenter of intelligence for the Air Force and Space Force now.
Yep.
So, and they have a lot of civilian employees, but the security for them to get hired there is so strict. But going back to the contracted workers, I've had friends that like hauled concrete and stuff in there, and nobody has ever been able to allow to work in one project to the next. They always had to use different contractors for And what I've been told, and I've been told this by a couple people, that they're 10 stories down plus into the ground.
That's nuts.
So
Do you
that
think
is
there?
nuts.
Do you think there's aliens there? Do you think that there's an alien body?
Happened in Whatever happened in Area 54 is there, whether it be the aliens thing or I honestly believe that there is some kind of technology that they're trying to reverse engineer and been trying for years. That's why I think sometimes we come out ahead of a few other countries with certain technology. But there's been individuals that's been interviewed over the years that has talked about this stuff, and now all these things are at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. I have seen because it's over in Fairborn, and I live about 15, 20 minutes from there if you go down the highway. I've seen the fucking sky. Sorry, I didn't mean to cuss, but I've seen the sky glow. Anybody
Yeah.
that's in here in the chat room that lives in Springfield has seen it. They might have seen the same thing. They it's literally glowed over Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, and it looked like a lightning strike at the end of it, and then it disappears. I've seen that twice in my life
That's
living here in
nuts.
Springfield. Yeah, so stuff does go on there.
Did you
I,
hear?
uh,
I believe it was Tim Burchett said that there's aliens living in the ocean. He's
oh, really?
I believe he's a Congress. I believe he's a congressman from Tennessee.
Yeah, but once again, none of these people are experts. If they're going to say something like that, they
No.
need to be able to back it up with proof. You got to be able, and that's why I hesitate to say some things because I can't prove to you sitting here talking to you about certain things. I can just tell you what I've seen, but I
Yeah.
have nothing to prove to you. I can't show you a video. I can't show you documentation. I could probably dig up a few, news articles over the years and interviews
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
people that said the same thing that I'm saying. But I don't have anything right now to tell you this. So I hesitate to say this stuff. But I'm not afraid to say I seen it. You don't have to believe me. But it is things that I have seen.
I mean,
Give
that's
you
the
the,
thing,
yeah.
though. There's nothing better than I think firsthand
Hey, Lil.
witness. There's nothing better than
There
firsthand
you go.
witness of an event. Especially something like the sky lighting up and then looking like it's ending in a lightning strike. We have 2 million.
See, Frugal. Look,
Yep.
Frugal. He's a guy right here in town.
Okay.
I talk to him all the time. He
Yeah.
said he lost his secret clearance about 10 years ago because of, yeah, see, that's a civilian deal. If you
Yeah.
have a bad credit rating, you can't work there no more because they're afraid you could be blackmailed. So
Oh, okay.
what's going on in there that they worry about their civilian employees to be blackmailed? What kind of secrets are they
Are they
hiding?
holding? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so right Pat's a trip. It really is.
Like that's
I
nuts that you live that close to it. When you told me that like what a couple of weeks ago, I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, wait, whoa, back up. You don't just say that and then just move on. I'm like, that's nuts.
Well, we had 4 drones fly over Wright Pat, and they had to shut down the airspace over Wright Pat, and no authorities, nobody could tell them what the drones were doing there and where they came from and where they went. None of this, and they still haven't said what happened. Just that they
Yeah.
had to shut the airspace down.
Annie said, Baron said, "Daddy's home."
Daddy's home.
That's a great one. I love that one.
Yeah.
So, about this documentary
Yeah.
you're going to be
Thank
in,
you, Beverly.
when
Hopefully I'll
when
be
did you
part
say
of
that was?
part 2.
Yeah, part 2. When do
I
you
tell you
think
what,
that's
we're
going to
running
be
out of
out?
time tonight. I don't. He just emailed me part 1 a couple days ago.
Okay. Okay.
I'm not going to play it tonight because it's kind of long. I'm gonna save it for next Sunday.
Yep.
But I can tell you, if you want to watch it ahead of time, guys, it's called. Oh shoot, Band History is what it's called. Band History, and it's on YouTube. And he put it on his channel about 4 or 5 days ago, and it's the title says Haitian Ohio History, Part 1 of 2 is the title of the video, and you can go on his channel, Band History, and watch it. And I'm gonna play part of it. I was gonna play part of it tonight, but we're running a little long because I was gonna play it, but it's like an hour long, and I was gonna play about 20, 30 minutes of it. But if you want to watch the whole thing, it's quite interesting. I mean, I always say on my live stream, I like to connect the dots. He connect a whole hell of a lot of dots in this documentary, stuff that I didn't even think about. I mean, he did a really good job of figuring some things out and figuring why our politicians were doing what they were doing way back when to get us to where we are now. So it is, if you're interested in that kind of thing about the Haitian problem in Springfield, it is a documentary to watch.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out because I'm actually interested. Did you ever see the videos of China launching the artificial sun?
No.
Yeah, YouTube that. It'll blow your mind. They actually launched an artificial sun up in the sky. It looks like there's two suns in the sky. It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. It's nuts that they have the technology to do it. It's nuts that they would try
Right.
to do it. But yeah, definitely check them
See,
out.
that's the problem. I think we've gotten behind on technology because it's time worrying about what gender we want to call somebody or the right pronoun that places like China and even Russia is working on stuff that we're not working on yet. But when North Korea is catching up, that's a problem.
Yeah, and that's why Trump is all behind this AI partnership with these companies. We have to win the AI war. We have to be the leaders in AI technology. And I know a lot of people that scares them, but the thought of China winning that and having that advanced technology over us with quantum computing and AI, it would be a game changer.
Well,
That would
it was a fear of John F. Kennedy about us losing the space race because he thought everything we learned going into space would move us ahead technologically. I can't say that right. It's because I'm a little hick. Anyways,
technologically.
there you
There you
go.
go.
Yeah, okay. I'm glad you're here because I'd have said something else besides that. But that's what he feared. That you know what I mean. So
Yeah,
and Trump fears that. It's a good
we
thing.
we should all.
I don't know how many people watched the SpaceX launch of the rockets to
The
send
moon.
a unmanned rocket is on its way to the moon right now, and it's got like 2 different payloads in there, and they were showing some of the technology of what they're going to test while they're on the moon. But I'm a huge SpaceX nut. Well, you do too. You watch the Mars thing, and I watch that kind of
Yeah, I
stuff
do.
too.
I
But
do. I
anytime
do.
SpaceX is doing something live, I try to watch their launches and see all that stuff. It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the launch rocket can redock itself is pretty impressive. If you've never seen that
Yeah,
that rocket re-land and like that blows your mind. It's like holy Moses! Like the technology
yeah,
behind that,
it's pretty cool.
it's
Yeah, and that
insane.
happened when they did the launch. It was yesterday, I think. Yeah, yesterday. They had like split screen. They show where it's separated, and the
Yep.
one rocket that's going to the moon, they were showing the speed, how it was accelerating, and like it was like at 26,700 miles an hour, and then it
Yep.
and the other screen it was showing the other rocket coming back and slowing down and landing itself back on the platform.
Yep.
That's the coolest stuff to watch.
It is. It is. And that's the thing. Like a lot of people were like, were saying, well, Elon Musk said we were going to go to Mars. What are we going to populate Mars? You know, why would we want to do that? It's not about populating these planets. To me, it's more about the resources, the precious minerals that they believe that we can extract from those planets and bring them back to Earth. You know, bring them back to Earth. You know, it's that's the way they look at this. You know, they look at like the precious materials that these planets could be holding, like gold, silver, and God knows what else. Remember, Elon Musk wanted to try to, one of his goals was to try to land on a meteor and extract precious metals from a meteor, which is insane in itself. But that's what it's about. That's why we want to go to the moon. That's why we want to go to Mars. Wait, hold on. What is it? Yeah.
Yeah, you know what's that?
It said, what is Russ saying? China is winning. Yeah, well, you know, Russ, the other problem
They
is
are. Yeah,
too. Yeah,
we agree. We agree
yeah.
with that.
The other problem is when you have companies like Google that refused to work with the United States military, but yet they'll work with China's military to develop AI. Who thinks that that's a good idea to not to allow that company to do that? You know, we the United States, we're just like, okay, like there should be some type of retribution for that company working with an adversary of the United States and refusing to work with the American military. They're like, oh, that'd be too controversial. We couldn't do that. But you have no problem working with China, again, our adversary. They threaten. They could threaten our way of life, but I don't know. Politicians don't care. They're too worried about TikTok.
Yeah, and you know why Elon Musk is focused on outer space and everything beyond. Trump's focusing on closer items. That and they make it like a joke, but he is real serious about the Greenland deal
Yeah,
because of the materials that the minerals and stuff that is in that country. The same as our own state in Alaska that has these same minerals and stuff and materials that they can
yep.
mine, not just oil, but they've got other things that they can get out of Alaska like they can in Greenland. Makes me think that somewhere where it's like cold a lot,
Yeah,
whatever under the ground is more precious than where it's like in warmer
yeah,
climates. Because it seems like everywhere they extract these kind of materials and minerals is in very, very cold climate.
yeah. And
So I don't know if you've seen interviews of the people of Greenland. Some of them say they don't want Trump to get involved with their country, but more than not, a lot of them say they want to get away from Denmark and they don't want to be part of America, but they don't mind America, being like
a
a
protectorate. Yeah,
colony.
protectorate, like we are with Puerto
Yeah,
Rico. Yeah,
instead of Denmark. Yeah, exactly. Same thing. Exactly.
yeah. I mean, to me, like,
Plus, I can't wait to vacation in the Gulf of America.
I hear you. But just think about a strategic military base there in Greenland too, though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
a great strategic place, to like you said, extract precious oils and minerals, but it's also a very strategic place to have a military base, and possibly some missiles. Just saying, protect us,
well, yeah,
against a threat.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. They make it like a joke, but if you think about it, if you sit down and think about it, what would it benefit us it really would
Oh
benefit
yeah,
us to take them under our wing
100%.
and make that where we can have some control there.
Yep.
So it makes
Yep.
sense. A lot of good things are happening. I've said it before. I'm a little skeptical on some things, like the Panama Canal would be a great thing, but I'm skeptical that it's going to happen easily. It probably will happen, but it won't be an easy task. I think Greenland's going to be very easy to uh, do exactly what Trump said he was going to do there. And I think the Gulf of America is just it's a silly thing, but who's going to stop us from naming it the Gulf of America? Who's going to stop us?
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean,
You know what I mean? So we can pretty much do what we
yeah,
want.
yeah. 100% agree. All right, James. I got to get a shower and unfortunately get ready for work tomorrow. So I am going to call it a night. Thank you so much for having me on. Thanks everybody for jumping in the chat.
I appreciate you coming in, Carl. It's been good times.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you like I said, usually they're hearing me ramble on for 2-3
Well,
hours.
you got to hear me a little bit.
We've covered a lot tonight. That's what I like, bouncing back.
Yep.
We've talked about everything everything that we've talked about. It was what I was going to talk about by myself. So we probably both can call this the end of the live stream tonight. And everybody in chat, thanks for coming in. It's been fun, Carl. I hope we can do this again.
Yo, absolutely.
Hopefully next
Anytime,
time
buddy.
we can get Tyler on. Because
yeah,
I like
we'll drag his ass.
because Tyler's a good dude.
Yeah,
I consider him a friend. He's like not my only homosexual friend, but I consider him a friend.
He's one of them.
Yeah, he's one of them. And tell him what he missed out on, Carl.
I will. I'll tell him that he'll probably end up watching this later tonight. But all right, guys.
Well then, hey Tyler, I hold nothing against you, sir. You're still a bottom. You're not a top. You're a bottom.
All right, God, Tyler. All right, guys. Good night. God bless. I will catch you all next time.
All right, Carl.
Later, buddy.
Later. See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and on that note, guys, I'm going to say the same thing. Thanks for coming in. This has been a little bit different than normal. It's been mostly politics instead of just talking about whatever today. I did a video recently on my car channel. I'm having some situations where it's getting harder for me to make a video car content because of my physical stuff. But with all the comments I got on that video, it makes me want to keep trying to make videos, even though they're sporadic. So I appreciate the support on the people that watched that video and sent me comments on telling me to do what I can do and don't worry about it, because I feel bad I can't be consistent with my videos on my car channel. But I'm going to continue to try. Rusty, brother, as always, thanks for all we message back and forth all the time. Good dude. I appreciate it. What's up, Papa? Beverly, Stephanie, all you guys that come in every Sunday, thank you. I'll see you guys next Sunday at 7 a.m. or 7 p.m. 7 a.m. You'll not see me at 7 a.m. 7 p.m. next Sunday, live stream with Jimmy Pockets, a.k.a. James of Empty Pockets Garage. Guys, until next time, I'm out of here.